Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Shit. It's so good to be back again with the streaming and doing review again. And it's a good time to be back because we all know what we're doing here today. We're doing Tom Clancy's Destiny. So without any further ado, I'm Jason, and I'm gonna judge a game. Let's fucking do this. Jayson's Judgements. I'm gonna judge a game. Now, for the one or two people watching this video who don't know what The Division is or don't know about the hype leading up to it, hi Mom and Dad, and thanks for watching the video. Sorry about the fuck bombs, there's a couple coming.
Give me yo shit. What the dick was that? Give me yo shit. Stupid fucking map glitch. Give me yo shit.
Secondly, The Division was described to be a pseudo MMO much like Destiny, but more of a Borderlands looter-shooter kind of deal. But the area is one giant area with one portion of it sectioned off as PvP, known as the Dark Zone, and we'll get into the Dark Zone and its mechanics later. But the story of the area is that it's a few weeks after Black Friday has happened, and it's not just the American holiday where people lose their shit off of $2 of a bagel warmer just hours after being thankful for things with their family. This is also a catastrophic event in which the green virus, which is a modified, weaponized version of the smallpox virus, basically, was spread using dollar bills, which gave that the name the green virus. We're first dropped into Brooklyn, which is kind of our tutorial area. First, we choose our character, or should I say one of 8 generic faces, change a couple of different hairstyles, some eye color, and a couple of different skin tones, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why we even got a choice at all if this is all they're gonna give us. After that is the tutorial of the game. Unfortunately, it's not even close to being enough, really, because it doesn't go into mechanics like how to hold V on the keyboard to bring up a circled context menu, to bring up consumables like edibles that'll remove status effects, or that'll vary your ammo types for a couple of different seconds, things like that. They don't even delve into that and mention it, but you kind of are expected to figure it out for yourself by accident. I don't know if it's the same way on consoles, but it's not apparent for PC versions. And yes, we're digging into the PC version, and a lot of it's not going to apply specifically to the PC version. Most of my qualms are with the game itself, but there are things that have to be mentioned about the PC version. So please, even if you're on consoles, don't tune out because most of this review still applies. I have to mention that this is a surprisingly incredible port. It's a far cry from other Ubisoft releases. I know it's a shitty joke, but I'm proud of it. Shut up. Seriously though, look.
Just look at how fucking beautiful this looks. Like, I understand that there was a graphical downgrade and you're seeing some pop-in and things like that. However, that notwithstanding, it's still gorgeous. And Ubisoft has this problem where the final product is not going to be as good as the early footage that they put out. It's never going to be as good as the early footage that they put out. And they're always going to get shit because of it. And that's kind of sad because this right here is still an achievement. This is still incredible. Everything that's going on, there's so much detail. And this is, you saw me cut it down to, what, 70%?
That's a clear shot.
Again, I don't want this to be looked over. Ubisoft did this. Ubisoft. And for the most part, it runs like a dream. There are some areas that are a little bit more like graphically intensive, and so you'll notice frame drops. I drop from, I limit to 60 frames so that it doesn't mess up on my stream. And for some reason, this game hates streaming applications and recording applications because I actually have to tone down my graphics pretty severely in order to not get a slideshow frame rate on the stream. Even though I've got a beefy CPU and a beefy graphics card. So there's something going on there with the game and how it's coded, or possibly the graphics drivers. We'll see how that continues on later. It's not a giant detriment, and it doesn't look terrible with those graphic options scaled down. And on top of that, this game has some of the weirdest bugs I have ever seen.
Okay, where's the nearest? Right there. Or don't highlight it. Stupid fucking map glitch.
There are other people who encounter things like falling through the map and other things like that that need to be mentioned, but didn't happen to me, which is why I'm saying it and not showing it in those clips that I just showed you. And it also has to be mentioned about half an hour after going live, the Uplay servers just go down. That everything. You couldn't log into Uplay. If you were in the game when it went down, you couldn't exit out of your game without Alt F4ing. And those of us who couldn't, even log in. Actually, funny story, my computer completely crashed while I was online, and while I was booting back up is when the Uplay servers went down. I couldn't even boot up the game to mess with settings, and there's something wrong with it. I should be able to at least launch up, I don't even have to connect to the servers first, just let me mess with my local settings, and that would be nice. I could have smashed out some other option stuff in the videos. I could have done something with that downtime, and even though the downtime was relatively short, it was only half an hour. And during that half an hour, its score on Steam just plummeted, which is unfortunate.
Servers are completely
and for the first half hour, things were running smoothly, and Division was sitting at a good 70 to 80%, mostly positive. Now, and here, I'll switch my friggin' screen. Right now, we're looking at a 49% now. I looked at it 2 minutes ago, it was 52%.
And then I get to this now.
And honestly, since then, I haven't noticed a single problem. There's been queues every once in a while, but those queues are less than a minute long. Even if it says 96 people in front of me, it'll go 96, 92, 78, 2. It just, they're all gone. So there's not a long waiting time either. Now, give me a moment because I'm about to go on a bit of a tangent here, but it applies in this case. Why the fuck is Uplay still a thing? The worst thing about this game easily is that it forces us to use this shitty, broken DRM system hidden as a store play and social front. And I understand that Steam is basically the same thing, but it's got shit figured out. You know who uses Steam? Just about everybody. You know who on PC got your game through Steam? Just about everybody. Nobody is buying your games through your storefront. You might be getting keys from people who have gotten it through free Nvidia deals or from key stores. Not that anybody would use key stores, because who wants to pay a fucking $60 AAA price these days when things like Steam sales exist? Excuse me, I think I had something in my throat. Anyways. Anyway, you have to know how much people will go out of the way to avoid the cesspool that is Uplay. So why force us to use your friends list when plenty of games that aren't even Steam related or Valve related games use the Valve Steam friends list for matchmaking and things like that? It's simple. Just use a system in place that works instead of trying to force a broken one. If the PC division of Ubisoft is a body, Uplay's the disease that is going to kill the host. Now that I'm done with that rant about Uplay, that's pretty much all that's PC specific. The rest of what I have to say about this game has to do with the game, console or PC. Now we all know from this game, in standard Ubisoft fashion, we've gotten graphical downgrades since it's been announced. There was all this hype about it in 2012 about how fantastic it looked, and then the next video we saw wasn't quite as good, and then it wasn't quite as good, and there's some features scaled out. That's standard Ubisoft fashion. However, it has to be noted that even with what is left, it's sad that Ubisoft did this because this still looks fan-fucking-tastic. This has to be noted because it does. It's beautiful. The world is gorgeous and full of detail, and especially PC-specific options, there's a shitload you can mess with. And even on consoles, there's just so much going on. It's amazing. It seems to be utilizing a lot of potential of anything. It's just sad to see Ubisoft shoot themselves in the foot with this same exact thing time and time again, faking footage, or the footage looking better originally than final release, and things like that, when the final project is still a marvel. Look at Division looks fantastic. You saw that benchmark. And Siege looks fantastic. You've seen what it's done. It's sad to see Ubisoft constantly doing this to themselves. And people have to note that it's still fantastic, especially this new engine, Frostbite, which has so much potential. Some of its effects don't really make sense, and I hope they change some things about it.
Mistake. I gotta stop it. Okay. Goodbye, light. Goodbye, light. Goodbye, light. Goodbye. Hello. Hello. Goodbye. Goodbye. Fucking lights everywhere. I just want eternal darkness.
Why the hell is that there? Either let me shoot out the light, and that's cool, I can have this new perspective, whatever, I can change it how I want it, you know, I have that much more control, just like I can close doors. That'd be a cool thing. But no, it comes on 2 seconds later? What the hell is that? Either don't let me shoot out the light at all, or let me shoot it out for a good solid minute at least. That'd be a nice way to, if there's a light in your way when you're taking behind it, a perfect cover position otherwise, to where you could just shoot it out and then have your quick battle, and every once in a while, yeah, you'll have to shoot out the light again, but not every 2 to 3 fucking seconds. And there are a lot of other things that are small things that bug me about this game, that they seem small, but they stack up. And I've mentioned Destiny a couple of times, and it's gonna come up a couple more because this game invites itself to comparisons, and in some cases it actually falls short, but we'll talk about some of those later. Okay, so I've mentioned Destiny a couple of times, and forgive me, but I'm gonna mention it a couple more because this game invites itself to comparisons with Destiny, and in some cases it actually falls short, and I'm talking Destiny Day 1. So, not even Taken King, just Day 1. There are things that this game somehow managed to not learn. But we'll get to those in a minute. We talked about the story a little bit, about how the virus came out, so on and so forth. That's your land. What's the story after that? Garbage. There's nothing really to it. And it's unfortunate because the setting and the world is fantastic. In standard Ubisoft fashion, yet again, there's a shitload of collectibles, and just like Destiny, unfortunately, the lore is more interesting than the story presented. Now, our story, you start, of course, like I said before, in Brooklyn. You do your tutorial missions, you land in your main area, before you even land, kaboom, your other character that you were originally introduced to is useless. Now, you don't give a shit about this character after this. You won't. You don't need to. Amanda Fake, go fuck yourself. After this, you have to deal with the guy that constantly bitches about, oh, my wife was one of the first victims, and how hard things have been after that, but he's still helping you people even though this shit just isn't worth it. And then you have the medical person who's just here to save the people, and the shit you got her just isn't quite up to par with what they would have in other places, but go fuck yourself, I worked hard for this, so just enjoy what I've given you, you bitch. And it's... I don't know. No clue. Nothing. Ooh, that's me. I'm really boring, aren't I? Not only the characters, but the story you play through is just so incohesive and bland. And going back to these weird bugs, I had a bug to where I couldn't hear things that were coming over audio logs, so the stuff in the world that I collected, it's not playing any sound whatsoever from those. It's not playing any sound from transmissions from any main missions or side missions or any expositional data like that. But at that point, I just didn't care, and I was kind of happy to be saved from all of it because it was just too much and nothing to care about. And the gems are in the collectibles, to be honest. In true Destiny fashion, the lore is better than the story, and it sucks, but the lore is fascinating, especially when you look at some of these echoes that recreate certain scenes. Some of them, I don't know why I'm looking at this scene, but some of them it's like, holy shit, you have taken me to a different world.
Indicate an echo nearby.
Oh yeah.
You're not even gonna look at it? You're just running away?
No, I was investigating. You have to look at different things to investigate.
We have to find Judy.
I don't care what the Andersons told you. Hey, watch it, asshole!
Yeah, sorry, sir, but I'm gonna have to ask you to move.
We're just trying
Over
to
here.
Don't forget
Ah, here she is.
Okay,
They're not
sorry, but you'll have
monsters,
to take
Mr.
your things
Velassi.
and
I'm going to
vacate the
try
area.
and
This is
persuade them
private
again.
property and you're obstructing traffic.
no traffic here, man. Come on.
Listen, you don't have to go in the air with this, but if you can at least get me some kind of proof.
Bobby, I got through. Got somebody at the press office. What did they say? They said they don't know, but the home games are canceled indefinitely and the airports are shut, so no one's traveling. I mean, the whole league's closed down. They can't just not play. I know. The whole world's gone nuts.
File and a phone somewhere.
Yeah, that's below us, I think.
And again, comparing to Destiny on day one, the final mission was better on Destiny day one, which is sad because that was so anticlimactic, but at least it felt like there was some kind of conclusion, even though there's stuff still going on in the world, whereas in this one, it's just, I just wanted to shoot the helicopter, go bang, get loot, and start worrying about numbers after that. That's all you care about in this game is numbers. And that leads me to my next point, is that the loot is boring. We could have had really good loot. We've got better weapons that exist in this world today, and they could have gone that way looking at some of the tech that they've used for like the sticky bomb launchers and for, I like to call them the death balls.
Death ball. Ball of death.
They could have used that technology to do guns that kind of exist today and enhancements to them and things like that. And the modular system could have been a lot better. I'm happy to see that you put mods onto weapons. This is really good. But I wanted to go back to the Ghost Recon Future Soldier days of weapon customization, and that would have allowed for a lot more loot to be gained, a lot more for the end game, to be honest. But I don't want to understate this. You essentially have 6 different versions of credits in this game. You have credits, you have Dark Zone credits, you have Phoenix coins, you have your Tech Wing credits, you have your Security Wing credits, you have your Medical Wing credits. They used credits in 5 out of 6. And Wing credits out of 3 out of 6. You think they could have been a little bit more, I don't know, creative? At least one of them is Phoenix coins, and that's the only one that really matters in the end. Because once you get all your wings upgraded, you essentially, you're level 30, everything is going to be useless to you. Down to the shit that's dropped is just, I'd rather just break it down than waste my time going back to somewhere and selling it. So you just mark it all as junk and just hold down the button to deconstruct them all at once. And yet another problem, and yet another thing Destiny had right day one, and it's so sad to see that Division did not learn from this, is because if I, as a higher level character, go and join a friend who is a lower level, the enemies that he is fighting will scale up to my level rather than scaling my damage down to his level to mitigate the difference of what I'm doing. Destiny does that right. Why can't Division? This would have been really nice to see, and it's an easy way to power level. You just have that friend join your group, and you just go around doing whatever, and he'll level like crazy. But that's kind of a boring way to do things in the end. It's cool for power leveling, but what if I just want to play through my friend's story with him? Because he wants to do it at his pace, but I want to be there with him, but I don't want to start a new character. Come on. Now, these missions you can do for wing credits, the ones that give you the bigger amounts, like the 300s and the 400s and the 500s, those ones have a little bit more to do with the story, but it's essentially go over here, 3 waves of enemies, go a little bit farther, 3 waves of enemies, and go a little bit farther, 3 waves of enemies, and oh look, there's a boss that has some kind of name and has a couple of lines, and then her and or him and 3 waves of enemies, and either way, and end of mission. There are a few that go out of the way of this, like the aforementioned helicopter. That was kind of cool, but that was the only thing that was different other than maybe I like to throw a lot of fucking grenades everywhere. And the other way to get these credits, while not as much at each one, there are a lot of these scattered around the area, is encounters. And to do these, you can just go straight to them, and they will start whatever objective it is. Usually with the medical ones, there's either fight off a wave of enemies and like save hostages or something, or go find these virus scanners and then upload it to a laptop, and there might be some enemies in there. It's definitely a virus contaminated area, and just simple stuff like that. But it's a quick 5 to 15 minute thing that you do that's placed in the world that gives you credits and experience for doing, so why not do it? And it's kind of cool to see this implemented. I just wish I had seen it more varied. Now, if you want to see these encounters on the map so you can find them more easily, just to run straight to them and have your direct GPS, however you want it to be, find the safe houses, which are these towers that are placed in the areas, excuse me, safe houses placed in these areas that will, once you go in there, you talk to a person that'll show the side missions in the area. There's like an echo you need to pick up, things like that, and you go to a situation board that show the encounters. Now, these safe houses are actually really cool and unique, with each one that is outside the dark zone. Some that are inside are pretty cool and unique as well. But I want to state that these are all really cool locations and seem like they would exist in this kind of world, which is yet another disappointment thing that they could have introduced them with some kind of story element as you move along. That's a way an area could progress to more evolve with the story, since nobody else is going to be in the world that you're doing outside of the dark zone. Now, the gameplay and gunplay itself, however, is really fantastic. It's a lot of fun to play if you like that looter-shooter kind of thing, the third-person element, as well as the cover-based shooter. And for a cover-based shooter, its mechanics are really great, but like any cover-based shooter, it's gonna have some problems, especially when you're trying to mantle ladders and stupid other things like that, especially fucking ladders.
Yeah, let's interact with the... Oh my god! Fuck ladders, man. I would have gotten away if it weren't for the stupid fucking animation of getting on the ladder.
Now, I have to mention it because it's apparent: bullet sponging. Now, I'm not saying this as a, like, this doesn't feel like I'm shooting real guns. I understand that. It's the ludonarrative dissonance that this game creates, and it doesn't really explain away well enough. If they were like, zombies, I would understand why they can take so many bullets. The fact that it's human characters and they don't understand why they can take so much fire is what creates that disconnect. And once you get over that disconnect, it's a lot more believable and a lot more fun. If you pretend that they're, superhuman, something like that, it helps. But the problem is that you have to come up with that device on your own, rather than it being explained through this shit narrative. Also, like most other cover-based shooters, the AI is garbage. It's complete garbage to the point where you can guess exactly where everything's going to go, especially with how much missions repeat, especially with daily missions, to the point where you're like, okay, there's going to be 4 shotgun guys on this round. Let's go out here and get them out of here, and they're going to start chasing us, so let's run back, take cover, and wait for them to come through this door. We'll hit them with fire and then kill them all at once. Boom. Done. That's how we do 4 out of the 5 normal daily missions we get all the fucking time. Speaking of something you're going to be doing all the fucking time, you're going to be running a lot. I'm not saying this as a bad thing, but you have to note it because it's what you're going to spend most of your game time doing, whether in the dark zone, out in the normal area, or the stupid-ass, slow-ass walk you have to do when carrying heavy containers, or walking from the streets inside your base of operations.
Turn to supplies, huh?
Yeah, I have a supply box on me.
Ah, cool.
Oh, I need some help.
For a looter shooter, I have to tell you, the loot is super fucking boring. A way they could have spiced it up is having more attachments on weapons, but they didn't do that, and they fucked up their chance for elemental bullets or elemental weapons. Instead, they have explosive and incendiary ammo you can get for 15 seconds or so, and it can put a status effect on whatever you're shooting at. But other than that, it's kind of useless, and they kind of fucked it. It would have been cool to see like electric bullets or, you know, an electric weapon or however stuff, but the loot is so boring as it is, and it's such a mistake. They could have learned from Destiny again. It's better than Destiny with the loot system to how if I'm not in the dark zone, if I see something dropped and it's better than what I have, I can equip it or use it. Bam, right there and done. However, it's boring loot. I understand that it's bound by the Tom Clancy name, and I understand that it's bound by a certain level of realism, but when they get to the point where this is basically a post-apocalyptic New York, I'm not saying world apocalyptic, but New York's own apocalypse, we'd have that disconnect. We can have some future stuff. There's also some severe balancing issues that need to happen with NPCs, especially with shotgun range, especially with these challenge missions. Oh my god, fucking shotguns. But for the most part, everything is sound. Speaking of sound,
The civilians.
the sound in this game is fantastic. Everything from the fucking weapon sounds to the wow. I love that wow. Just wow. I love it so much. Every single time I complete a mission, I understand if you don't like that sound effect that it could get annoying, but it's so apparent, and I love it so much that I don't mind that it's so apparent. Every single time while I was live streaming, wow. Every time it came up, without fail, at some point or another. Sometimes it'd be delayed, but always there was a wow. We've even come to an understanding of how it's spelled. Wow. And explosions too, especially with the cleaners. There are different people who can have different effects, like big heavy guys with their LMGs, and if you shoot the ammo pack on their back, they freak out and bullets go everywhere. Or the cleaners who use these flamethrowers, and if you shoot the tanks on their backs, it'll start to leak a little psh, and then they start to freak out. Ah! And go, psh. It's just cool.
I have to get my barracks first.
Yeah.
Hostiles neutralized.
Nice. Whoa!
However, I can't recall if the game even has music. Wait, hang on. I'm getting an update. I'm being told that there is indeed game music, but it's just paper thin, boring, and there to fill the silence. Thank you, Chet. There are so many moments when a good track could have amplified just this really intense moment of whatever mission, and you know, a lot of bullets are flying and so on and so forth. It's your own tension, but nothing's elevated by the soundtrack, and that's a disappointment because we could have had a good game score to go along with it to pump us up, be like, yeah, this is a good fight. And finally, can we talk about Endgame? For being the endgame, it's disappointing. For being PvP, it's disappointing. For what we were promised of the Dark Zone, it's disappointing. For the multiple Dark Zones we were promised, it's disappointing. I'm sure there's stuff to come, but for now, it's disappointing. There's so many other things we could have done with the Dark Zone, especially with it being the endgame content. You know, going rogue really isn't worth it. You could have had, you know, giant war of players versus rogues, or have a day every week that the streets just flood with players and NPCs, and it's just a giant war of cleaners and riders and fucking players and rogues, and we're all just going at it. It'd be fucking insane. But this is just me vomiting ideas onto the page, and none of it could have even been thought of in the past, I don't know, 3, however many years it's been planned before that. Come on. for what it is now, it's disappointing. And there's incursions coming later in a free update next month, but that's next month. What's endgame in the game now is not keeping me satisfied enough to stay. Now, in the Dark Zone, shooting other players turns you rogue if they're not rogue already. Being rogue is so not worth it. If you die, you lose experience, money, and whatever stuff you were holding to extract. And yes, in the stupidest move I've ever heard, you lose XP. And not just down to the beginning of whatever level you're at. No, theoretically, you could go from 99, which is the cap right now, to 0 if you lost enough XP. And if you go rogue and go into manhunt mode, that could happen. You could lose hundreds and thousands of Dark Zone experience.
Alright, so I'm recording this now because I've already torn down my recording setup and the update has to be mentioned. There are a lot of things that have changed with this update, and honestly, most of them are really good changes. I'm disappointed there's an update that is mentioned but isn't given to us. Apparently caused stability issues. But, yeah. There were a lot of updates that fixed, especially with going rogue in the Dark Zone, and with the amount of drops and the quality of drops you're getting, is greatly increased. So we're getting better loot. Hopefully they make the loot more interesting, but cool. I mean, this is good. Good to see the first update tackle a lot of big things.
You can only hold a finite number of items in the Dark Zone before you have to extract, and that number can be kind of expanded using the upgrades that are in the base that I mentioned before, your base of operations. Once it's expanded to the fullest amount, which is 9, you have then 9 chances to go out, and you'll have still a total stash of 30, so I don't understand why they couldn't just go 10, so, 3 extractions, and I know to go to my stash, and the only time to look at how many items you've extracted is after you extract. It'll come up on the screen how many items you've extracted, and then that's it. And they'd never explain extracting either. It's just, you go to this place, you call for a helicopter, and you extract items because reasons game. They don't ever give a reason to it, and so that's another disconnect of, what? But I can just walk out through this door over here and I'm cool. I don't need to be like sprayed down to make sure I'm not infected too. So you've flown your items out and you return to your base. Wait, it's not that simple. You fly your items out, you walk to the exit of the Dark Zone, and then you probably fast travel to your base of operations, then have to run inside and then deal with the fucking walk inside, but you do a little roll so you can get rid of some of the walk inside, rather than just being teleported inside. And then you can pull your stash out. And instead of just being able to, send all to inventory, no, you have to sit there and hit F on every single one, hit it 300 times, and finally it's all in my inventory and I can start looking at shit. It's insane. It's impressive how much they overlooked with some simple things that they've added in that I didn't think of that are pretty cool. Like, I accidentally hit the C key, and that was just me auto-running. I, let go of the WASD keys, and my character just runs. So that's pretty cool that they added that, but they looked over a send all to inventory button. So it's weird to see the weird balance. And like I said, there's more things coming like incursions, which seem to be like they're going to be their style of raid, and we'll still see what they'll be, and I might, do a quick update video of this to see, talk about incursions a little bit and see if it was worth it to stay, but they're not in it now, and in the DLC, that is, season pass kind of DLC, they've been, not so open about the fact that it's Xbox exclusive. I found out about 40 hours in, having gotten to level 30, played for a while, and then the next time I booted up the game, it's like, hey, did you know? Look at this stuff that's coming in the season pass. Oh, by the way, it's on Xbox first for a month.
I just found out, 5 minutes ago, that The Division has an exclusivity deal on Xbox One for a month. I know that games do this, and there are games that I love that do this, like Call of Duty. However, they tell you about it before you buy the game. This is the first time hearing about it for Division, and I'm 40 hours into the game. They didn't make it apparent. That's the problem. I was someone who looked into the game a lot.
And there's not even a shade of a clan system. Why is there not? Even Destiny has one, and again, another comparison, but it's there. And why does Division not have one? Look, I'll give you a reason for one right now. If you're going towards the Dark Zone and somebody in your clan is in the Dark Zone, you're going in the same level Dark Zone as him, boom, you're in the same instance. Pfft, gave you a reason to have a clan system, more so than Destiny, and it still doesn't have one. This would be a lot better for grouping up, doing missions, going on challenges and that kind of stuff, and match makes for your clan first if you have a big enough clan. Come on, why not? We were all looking forward for this kind of system. I'm just vomiting ideas out here onto a video player screen, and you're listening to me, and you couldn't think of this in 3+ years of development. No? Look, I could go on, but for the sake of time, let's go on to the junior judgments. The categories for today are graphics, gameplay and controls, replayability and content, audio, story, world and lore. For graphics, we'll have to give it an 8. There were downgrades, but it still looks fantastic, which is unfortunate, but there's a lot of texture popping and things that happen too, and that can't be overlooked. Gameplay and controls, 7. A lot of things were thought through, but a lot weren't, like the terrible V context menu. I don't know what it is on consoles, and I'm sure this is a PC problem more so, but I can't ignore it because this is what I played was the PC version. Audio, 7. Now, I gotta give it a 7 just because, while yes, the sounds are fan-fucking-tastic, the music is just... Story. I'm talking about the narrative that was completely non-existent here. That's a 2. That's in how many squirts of piss I give about any of these fucking characters. And for world and lore, I gotta give it an 8. All the stuff that's around is fantastic. It's just, they used the wrong stuff for the main story. They should have rewound and given us the prelude before of what happened in the Division. I want to know more in this world, but not this story. And the final judgment on Tom Clancy's The Division is a 5 out of 10. 3 out of 10 if you're playing without friends. 6 to 7 out of 10 with friends. I have to agree with the Angry Joe score, but for very different reasons. I don't think it's an average game. It's just there's so many positives and so many negatives that throw it in the middle. I think I might actually hate this game more than I love this game, but it's the parts that I love that keep me playing this game. But if future content doesn't work out for me, I don't see myself playing this game a whole lot longer. And that's kind of sad for something that's supposed to be a pseudo MMO, and I'm already 50, 60 hours in. I should be getting a lot more out of something that's a pseudo MMO. I have to mention the Snowdrop engine again because it's fan-fucking-tastic! And I really want to see it used in other games. Honestly, I think this one was just a tech demo for Snowdrop. Hey, look at what the Snowdrop engine can do. Now we can use it for games that can fully utilize it, and fuck this one once it's done with. We can milk out of the season pass. And despite how much I've railed on this game, I'm still going to be playing it if the content is worth it. I really have enjoyed myself a lot. I've gotten pissed off a lot too, but I have enjoyed myself a lot. And that's what's important in a game, and I've already gotten 60 hours out of a game, which is sometimes more than I get out of a $60 purchase. So we'll see how it goes from here, but I still stand by my 5 out of 10. thank you for watching all the way to the end of the review. This is a little something different I'm trying to do as well with the end cap and whatnot. And we can look at, you know, you could maybe subscribe if you enjoyed my video. I'm trying to up the quality in the things I'm doing. Let me know how I'm doing. Comment below. Give a like on the video. You know, share it with people if you enjoy it. Let me know what's going on. You can also follow me on Twitter. You can email me at jason@jasonsrage.com. That's Jason with a Y. And until then, you all stay sexy out there. You know, I might be working on another review already. Need for Speed. It finally came to PC. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I'm still doing it, but nobody cares. Nobody cares.